Hello and welcome to Field Days webinar. This is Victor Uniform 2 X-Ray Echo, Kiran Padiyar. On behalf of Amateur Radio Society of India, I welcome you all for this presentation. In this presentation, we are going to talk about how to tips and tricks for maximizing your field day experience. Please stand by. Thank you. First of all, let us talk about objectives for this presentation. There are a few very important key objectives in this presentation revolving around maximizing the joy of operating, which is the main intent of any field day. So, we will be covering how to plan for a particular location, how to deal with the local administration, what are the tips which you can take from this, how to actually apply for WPC temporary change of QTH permission. There are certain guidelines or tips on field dynamics and agility. We will be talking about also some tips about promoting ham radio while we are doing the field operations. It is a good opportunity for every ham to talk to local officials, press, schools, and other general public and make them aware of amateur radio. We are also going to talk about logging and reporting discipline. This is very important from not just the contest perspective, but also it is a regulatory requirement from the WPC perspective as well. And finally, the most important aspect is team safety. If all team members who are going outdoor are safe, the team will enjoy the most. So how to actually maximize the fun by obeying certain rules and regulations to so that we can all have a safe and most memorable field trip. That is the objective of this presentation. Now let us talk about Hilltop or field day. What is it all about? It is a fun event where hams head out of home shacks and set up portable operations. It might be to hilltops, plains, beaches, islands, etc. Okay, depending on individuals or groups' interest. It is also a contest event wherein teams can earn points by making contacts with other stations as per rules. It is more fun when you do it in groups. When you do it in solo also there can be some fun, but when the group is there, when the fellow hams accompany you, you will be enjoying this event a lot. So that is mainly an objective of any hilltop or field day. It is going to be around 35 hours of activity on 24th of February 9 a.m. to 25th February 6 p.m. Now let us talk about what is a grid square, because grid square is one of the important aspect of the field day. The moment you head out to a location, grid square is a exchange entity which you should be knowing about that geography. It is nothing but it is like a map locator. We can simplify and talk about it. So every grid square is 1 degree latitude by 2 degree longitude on the map. So there are approximately, it is around 70 by 100 miles in area. So when we are talking about it, there is another aspect to it, that grid square is further divided into finer aspects as well. So there are two letters, the field, and the two letter numbers towards the end called square. And then there is a finer locator ending with another two letters towards the end, which actually divides into smaller segments. So it seems to be complicated, but it is not so difficult to get with the online help from the softwares like uh, grid grid mapper of qrz.com, for example. So what you have to do, use the URL, which is qrz.com grid mapper. This is the URL, and then click on the map locate. There would be a map which would be shown in the window. You select the location. For the sake of this presentation, I have selected Tadiyandamol Peak in Coorg area of Karnataka. So if you click that particular area, the moment you click, the grid locator or the grid square will appear in the window out here, as well as in the within the square as well. It shows Mike Kilo 72 Tango Foxtrot, okay, MK72TF. This would be the exchange for your particular station. You have to understand this very much, and you will have to note down this when you actually head out to that particular place. The exchange between two stations, whether you are exchanging the exchanging with some other hilltop or in the field or with the home location, this is the exchange which you will have to give to the other party. Now let us talk about some key rules for 2018 field day. So basically we have made this rules available on arsi.info website under contest section. There you can find detailed rules, but I have just taken few of the rules here so that it becomes very clear in contester's mind or the field day team's mind. Okay. So the first point is only one call can be logged from one station. For the purpose of the contest, you will have to report one call sign to contest manager, and that is the call sign which you will have to call CQ or answer a CQ call from other side. There cannot be two members with the two different call signs from the same station responding to the callers. No points for logging same grid square, okay, and no repeater contacts allowed. So maintain this discipline. You should be knowing about some interesting multipliers this time. So solar operation, for example, if you go on entirely solar and battery to the field, there would be multiplier of 2 on overall score. For example, if a station makes 20 contacts with other grid squares, and let us say the total score becomes 40, and then due to the solar energy use, they will get that score multiplied by 2, that it becomes, that grand total becomes 80. That is a huge amount. Similar multiplier of 2 will be applied if entire team is staying out in the tents using the camping gears. Okay, they should be to qualify for this, they should be definitely be sending some proof of using solar or staying out in the real camping environment. If there is a very good number of participants with these, there would be definitely a different entry category which we will create later, or else there would be a special certificate given to these entrants who operated solar or using only camping gear, staying outside. Home station will be counted as different category. Home stations can only log the outdoor stations who are going to the hills or the fields. They cannot log between two home stations. There is no point for that home station logging. Stations can enter either VHF only or HF only or VHF plus HF combo category. Means a team which is, if there is a large team which wants to operate both VHF and HF, there are two separate teams in the same place, they can do so. They can operate VHF as well as HF from that location. They can opt for VHF HF combo category. There are two subsequent categories for HF. If they are going for HF only or VHF HF only combo, there are two types of stations. One is QRP, which is 5 watts and below, and then there is a low power category, which is 100 watts or below. There is no high power category in the field day. All portable stations should take snaps, the photos of their operating condition. These proofs should be submitted along with the logs to the contest manager. Now let us talk about planning VHF. There is a different aspect. Most of the hams going to the hilltops will love VHF for a reason that the more higher they get into, the more coverage they will have. Very important aspect of VHF is knowing the terrain. The preparation purpose, you will have to know the terrain before even get into that particular location. Some of you are aware of Google Earth or Google Map, which can be used for this purpose. You can go to those applications and search for the elevation, the terrain structures, and see if your target area is somewhere. On this particular presentation, I have shown the target area on the right side, wherein the antenna on the leftmost part will not work because there is a hill on the right side. So climbing up this hill will not yield into any communication to the target area, because most of the communication is line of sight in VHF. So you will have to get up to the most important peak out here, rightmost peak, and then only you can reach the target area. This is the planning which you will have to do. You will have to be a little bit creative. There are a lot of stations which I have seen in the past who have used very simple collinear arrays using wires. Simple wires assembled as a collinear array. There are teams who used Yagi stacks in the past. You can also try Quaggy, Quads, and numerous other antennas. This is the time when you can experiment, or you can take out those to the field and put to a real test. And also remember, in any directional antenna will require some means to turn the antenna as well. So think about that if you are taking the stacks or the directional antenna. You should have some mechanism to turn the antenna. So think about that while planning. If you are planning to operate LEO, low Earth orbiting satellites, right? Plan ahead, think ahead and plan that well. So it lot of fun can be there when you actually operate the satellites. The satellite operators know the better, right? Because of the thrill of very much important tracking of the satellites, you should be very well prepared in advance as well. So you should be knowing which particular longitude elevation angles the satellite will appear and how the pass will be. Those tracking some insight should be there. You can carry simple Yagi, cross boom Yagi, and make contacts with satellites as well. This can be a very fun event, especially for the newcomers. they will surely get thrilled and joy with this operation. So you may plan for satellite operation with VHF as well. Planning for HF slightly different, but the basic essentials of planning of terrain is still remains the same. In HF, because of size of antennas, you should be aware of nearby buildings and rocks. They are most RF, absorptive materials, I could say. You should be also trying to see, locate, and avoid noise sources such as LED lights or nearby repeaters where they will have lot of SMPS and power devices. Wire antennas high up in the trees are the best for HF. Okay, so lot of wires, if you carry with some good nylon tie ropes, they will help a lot. You should be little bit dynamic, little bit about the planning, little bit creative in the places which will take get you into the HF very much. So if you are in a serious contest, okay, if you are looking for doing good DX as well and good local contacts as well, plan to connect your rigs to computer for logging and keying as well as CAT control. Without that, you will struggle a lot in the fields. In some of the very harsh peaks, it may be a little bit difficult to carry the computer where you will have to first log everything on the paper, and probably after the contest you will have to convert that into Cabrillo format using the computer. But as much as possible, try to log using the computer. Try to be in a place where it is safe to log like that and have a control of your rig via the computer. So it will help you in increasing the contacts and having a lot of fun. Plan to play with different antenna combinations. You don't have to stick to old inverted V antennas. Okay, you can try probably a quarter wave vertical, pair of verticals, or high dipoles, lazy edge antennas, or anything which you want to try. This is the time wherein you can try, have a group fun. Everybody can learn and have fun on the field. For at least for 40-meter, you can try low dipole or inverted V as well, along with your other antennas which you are planning. This will help you in local contacts like checking into the net in the morning, or if there is a call from the referee for a organized net for all the remote stations, you can all join using those NVIS type of near vertical incident type of system, wherein you can contact the local stations with much better probability than the DX antennas like vertical. Generally, there are some other few more points I would like to cover, which are very some are important as well. Taking the first aid kit obviously is very important. Prepare for cold nights at hilltops, and taking appropriate clothings, very important. Have take a very good light source, like good LED torches or lanterns or something like that, so that if there is even power, sometimes power goes in those remote locations, you need not get stranded in en route to your antenna. You want to do a quick check on the antenna coaxes, connectors at night, or simply doing some work in that remote shack. You will not struggle. Take those essentials, small kits, tools, utilities which you require. Do take to the remote station. Take, if possible, take some few cards, QSL cards or information template about AM radio, and try to distribute to the arriving guest. If you have called any guest to the location, it will help. Or if there is any curious visitor in a busy location, if you are not in a very remote location, preparing a checklist of what where to stay, what type of transport which you'll use, what is the food condition, what power, portable power you will have to carry, antennas to put up, coaxes, tools, kits, radios, roster of activities. You can make all this into a checklist and start putting as a team what things to carry, what not to carry, and all that. Nighttime, normally, after, let us say, 10 o'clock or 10 p.m. During local night, you may close on VHF, because most of the most of the activity closes, and definitely HF will not close. HF DXing will start opening much on lower side of the lower bands at that time. So if you plan for 40, 80, and 160 meter in the fields, so it will help a lot, because you can try those bands which are much quieter at remote location. Try to involve everyone in the team with some small activities and delegate tasks to them. That will help relieving the stress from the lead. Utilize every bit of the time during the period, because only during that time many of the hams who have not been on air, who might have accompanied you, will get taste of operating, taste of propagations, taste of seeing the antennas and rakes in play. If you are a club team, try to carry club banner and event banner for the display. Okay, print a small templates, pamphlets for distribution, what your club does, and what is this activity about. It definitely will attract, in some of the areas, it may attract people to know about AM radio and get interested as well. Carry a map, map printout of the area, and a compass. If you are having a family joining this event, you know try to get the kids do some work along with you. Show the compass directions to them of the stations they actually heard, and ask them to locate on the map. They will be thrilled, and definitely it will be a lot of fun with them. Ensure, if you are carrying the computer or the laptop, your clock is in sync with global time standards. This is not so important, but I've seen in the past that people sometimes forget, or might have done, might have not observed that their clock is off by an hour or 30 minutes, and they start logging, but the other side of the contact, when they submit the logs, they don't match. So you should be as accurate as possible. It is not important to be within a second or within a millisecond also, but try to be as accurate as possible. Keep emergency phone numbers handy. That will definitely come into to use in any incidents to be reported. Now let us talk about WPC, right? So all hams operating from other than their home station, home QTH or the permanent QTH, they will have to take the temporary change of QTH permission from WPC. Okay, ARSI will not be following up or taking up this change of permission job with them. It is individual team's responsibility. There is a good material and process which has been uploaded on the ARSI group that is available. Uh, there is no shortcut. As I was mentioning, it takes its own time. So plan it in advance and try to finish this job by first week of January. So every team who is going on outdoor for this field trip should send an email to contest at the rate of rc.info, informing about the team composition, right? How many people are going? What is their call sign? What is the grid location which they are going to, and what category they may be planning? This can change after when nearing to the field day, but definitely it will give a good insight to contest manager whom to reach and follow up in case it is needed. Scanned image of the WPC permission should be sent to contest manager just prior to the operation start. Okay, so before you go to the field, send the permission letter copy to contest manager via the email. Without permission, please do not proceed. So team has two options. One is to get a special call sign. Special call sign is for entire team. When you have a special call sign for entire team, only that call sign can be entered from the location in the contest or outside the contest as well. A team also can choose to not to go for special call sign. They can stay away from there and say that okay, we will operate with our own home call signs. In that case, outside the contest, they can make their own contacts, but within the contest, when I say within the contest, if they are making QSOs for counting into the contest, they will have to use the call sign of the leader who has applied who has intimated to the contest manager. Okay, so that is the one important thing which you'll have to remember. There would not be multiple call signs allowed to participate from the same contest, same field location. Local administrations, there are multiple things which you'll have to take care of. If you are going to a reserved area like a forest or a hilltop which requires PWD permission or forest guard permission, or if you are going to a small island which requires administration permission, you are required to check that and get the permission of those departments before deciding to go there. If possible, along with the once you receive the permission or once you have a talks with the officials, try to invite them to the location. It will be definitely increase the publicity and awareness amongst officials, but also you may get additional contest points which are there in the guidelines section of the arsi.info website. Invite local journalists. This is a simple guideline. If you have any contact of a local journalist, try to invite them. They are always looking for some interesting news, probably short write up on the operation and the photos. They will be looking for such juicy news which is happening around. They may be able to publish those on the local papers and spread the awareness of amateur radio as well. And lastly, the most of the private properties, if you are going to estates, farmlands, beach houses, etc., may not require local administration permission because you already have a, change of QTS permission from WPC, and you are operating within the private premises. You may not require additional permissions. But in any case, you reach out to the owner of those properties and get their consent about to operate there. Now we will talk about operations, right? Very important. This may sound funny, but do not attempt to call contest manager or referee during the event on their cell phone or trying to reach them on emails, because they also may be at remote location and participating as one of the candidates in the contest, and they may not be in the network range. Do not operate under influence of alcohol or any drugs, because it is always it is something which is a discipline which may sound very harsh out here, but it is very important to keep good spirits of the field day, and not to come on the air under the influence of alcohol or any drugs, um, and uh, um and spoil the spirit. It's a very important aspect as well. Take care of personal and team health safety. I have mentioned this point a little bit earlier as well. Um, I have mentioned about the ropes, the wires you can carry, and computer logging aspect, combination, and everything else here. But important other aspect is about wildlife. When you are doing an operation at some remote locations, you may have wildlife related issues. The forest officers may warn you if there are elephants, for example, or bisons in the forest which may come to your field. Be careful about your antennas, about yourself. When it is warned by the officers, do not venture outside at night, even during the daytime. If there is a problem, if there is no barricade to the property, be careful about where you will be putting the antennas. Okay, if you are camping outside, definitely it is more important, because you will be on your own at a remote camp location, and sometimes it may be elephant passing road, or their nighttime traffic dense path. So be careful about that. Okay. um, when you are taking selfies, especially this is a very generic thing phenomenon nowadays. I should be mentioning about that during this presentation as well. If you are taking any selfies, be careful about where you are standing, about your surroundings, what height you are in, what is the danger level which you are facing right at that moment. Please do not cross those limits and put yourself in some type of danger. Be very careful about that. Be aware of nearby electrical lines. This is one of the very important safety guidelines for your any of the home location as well. But especially when we are choosing the field, when we are putting up some verticals, uh, we have to be extra careful, because our antennas should never come near to those high tension wires which is overhead. So keep away from there. If you are an VHF, if you are a VHFer, study some phenomenons like sporadic key propagation or tropospheric ducting. There may be some possibilities. It may happen certain times. It may help us in some long distance, like more than 200-kilometer path openings. It may help in those type of situations for short times. Keep, if you are studied and if you are prepared, if such phenomenon happens, you can take advantage of that, those phenomenon, and maximize your QSO counts. For HF operation, one important aspect is keep limited bands to operate. If you are focusing on too many bands, you may not make much of it. Especially nowadays, only lower bands are more active. That is 40 meter, 80 meter, and 160 meter are more active than higher bands. So try to focus on the lower bands. For the HF operations, again, keep gray lines, as your one of the focus points for the low bands, wherein the propagation gets enhanced along with those paths, and you will have a lot of stations may actually appear during that time, and due to the low noise figures, you may be able to work a lot of DX. Um, Keep your VHF and HF logs, contest logs, in separate files and submit them separately, because the exchanges for VHF are grid squares, whereas in for HF it is normal RST signal reports. Okay. Now let us come to the some of the important aspects of how to ensure that you are not making or leaving any footprints. Okay. Do not harm the property, animals, or natural resources around you. One of the principles which you should be following. Do not cause annoyance to neighbors, any neighboring people around, any villagers around. Don't play loud music. Don't keep your shack sound, that rig sound, too high that it disturbs others. Do not have um, you know um, flashlights and things like that in on the grounds, unless it is very remote and you have a permission to do so. Okay, it unnecessarily creates some annoyances. Talk to locals with politeness, with the intention of spreading awareness. Do not give any false reasons of your for your stay. Mention exact reason why you are there and what you are trying to do there, and how this is all about is going on and all that, instead of saying instead of giving some false reasons, like emergencies there, emergency preparedness or something like that, because sometimes it may impact their psychology, and they may panic as well. So instead of giving wrong reasons, give the right reason why you are there, right? Do not litter surroundings. Collect all the garbage, including plastics, ropes, wires, whichever you actually had taken. Please collect all of them and leave it only at pre-designated areas. If there is any other team in the same grid square, please do not get into conflicts and altercations about the space and all that. Okay, we are all hams. We all want to maximize our contacts, our fun. We have to live together. Please accommodate them and focus more on your team's radio skills. And remember that this is not a picnic. Okay, field day is not a picnic, but you can consider it as a fun event. You can always have a lot of fun with lot of people around. Also, remember that how many stations you should be planning. If you are having a large group of people, you should be definitely having more than two or three stations operating. One on HF, one on VHF, one with the satellite, things like that. If you do not have those many stations, people will not find it interesting. Okay, so to have fun, you should have some good planning done for the larger team. So you'll have some QRM uh, because a lot of people will be there, a lot of members would be there who may be interested in one section or the other. So so balance the team so that you minimize the QRM to the station. What are the activities? Let us say if there are some people who are not so much interested in coming on air, what are the other interesting things they can do? They can probably get into some home brewing session or learning session with the veterans AMs who are part of the group, or some events you can plan for them, some activities you can plan so that they are also involved in the event. Okay, you need not be always in front of the radio. You can always plan for some other activities which actually increases their knowledge and fun. If if there are good number of operators, having a roster of operation really helps, and it is a must in certain situations, so that you can balance who is going to operate, how much time one is going to operate. If you have already experienced in the past around the field operation, you should hand over the operation to less experienced person so that he also gets that thrill. Newcomers, this I already mentioned about newcomers. Try to give more time to the newcomers and try to coach them. Some people, we all start with that, right? We all start with some hesitation to come on the air. Some people don't want to come on the air because it is or it is obvious that we are talking to some strangers other side. But that particular barrier can be removed by somebody who is experienced standing next to him and coaching properly. After the field day, do not modify log QSOs in the log. Okay, it is not in the right spirit of the contest. Export the log in Cabrillo format. All the contesting softwares, or all the softwares nowadays, like Wintest or N1MM, if you are carrying those logging softwares, can export in Cabrillo format. Please submit the Cabrillo format only. If you are logged into the paper format during the field day, please enter all those details in a software like N1MM or your favorite logging software. Convert them into electronic format and send it to the contest manager. Mention the call sign email category of submission without fail. In the email which you are sending to the contest manager, these are the important aspects which you will have to follow. Within a week is a deadline, so ensure that you will all submit within a week. Contest honor system. So what happens is, like, if you are at a remote location, there is no policing. It is self disciplined activity. Please try to log everything accurately and honestly. The contest manager may randomly cross check logs and may be sending inquiry to the remote call signs you have mentioned in the logs. He also contest manager also reserves the right to disqualify anybody not obeying the rules, and who might have behaved in such a manner which damages the spirit of ham radio friendliness during the contest. Okay, there is a risk involved in all the hilltop activities, especially RC or no other member is responsible for that safety and any incidents occurring there. You have to take care of yourself and your team. Ensure that team safety comes first. Thank you for listening to this short webinar. Any inputs, you can always make them put your comments on the ARSI group, or you can send it to contest@rc.info. I will try to respond to them as at the earliest. Thank you very much once again, and have fun in VHF and HF field days. Thank you.